Holy ball of chain, guys. Holy ball of chain, gals. What's going on? What's happening today? What happened yesterday? New Orleans and Las Vegas under threat, uncovering the facts and impacts. Talk about the stacks. That's incredible. Could it be? Is America under siege? Is this terrorism? Is this a result of open borders? Am I not wearing my headphones? Yes, I am not wearing my headphones today. Can't. Got this big silly hat on my head right now. But let's get into it. You ready? Let's rock.
This morning, new video showing the terrifying moments on Bourbon Street. Pedestrians fleeing that white pickup truck after the driver jumped a curb, past a police car, and barreled down the street, all captured on surveillance video.
I need EMS at Canal and Bourbon now.
Horrified witnesses recording the scene along 3 blocks of the French Quarter.
And there were just bodies and the screams. I mean, you can't think about, unhear that. It was chaos.
Police say at least 15 people killed, more than 30 others injured. Authorities looking at this as an act of terrorism. The FBI describing the driver, 42-year-old Shamsud-Din Jabbar, as a U.S. citizen from Texas, an Army veteran who served in Afghanistan. In a YouTube video posted 4 years ago, Jabbar identifies himself as a realtor.
I'm born and raised in Beaumont, Texas, and now live in Houston.
Authorities now looking for any potential links to terrorist groups after finding an ISIS flag attached to the back of the rented truck. President Biden addressing the nation.
Mere hours before the attack, he posted videos on social media indicating that he was inspired by ISIS, expressing a desire to kill.
This morning, CNN reporting, according to two officials briefed on the investigation, that law enforcement is reviewing videos made by the suspect while driving to Louisiana, discussing his allegiance to ISIS. NBC News has not yet verified that report. Inside the vehicle, police found weapons and a homemade bomb, with more potential improvised explosive devices found in the area. Louisiana's Attorney General telling NBC News those IEDs may have been made in a local Airbnb. Video showing police nearby running towards the chaos, taking down the armed suspect in a gun battle that left 2 officers shot.
Felt like a war zone. When you look down Bourbon Street, you look all the way down the path the terrorists took. There were no barriers. He essentially had a free pass to go down Bourbon Street as fast as he wanted. 100%.
Local officials say at the time of the attack, protective barriers or bollards were under repair and not up. Instead, police strategically parked patrol vehicles to block key roads. Still, authorities admit their prevention plan failed.
We did indeed have a plan, but the terrorists defeated it.
The city council president calling for more scrutiny.
I will say this, that the bollards, they go up and down, but the sidewalk protection is still not what it should be.
Among those killed, a recent high school grad, 18-year-old Nakira Cheyenne Dito, 28-year-old Tiger Besh, a former Princeton football player, and Nicole Perez, who leaves behind a 5-year-old son.
Everybody loved her. And now she gone. She never come back. Her baby. I need to tell him. I don't know how I can explain him.
The community left to grapple with the new year, already tainted by tragedy.
You feel for all those families that lost loved ones, including those still in the hospital right now, fighting for their lives. We know that doctors and surgeons are working around the clock in hospitals all over New Orleans. One of the reasons why New Orleans may have been the target, as we mentioned earlier, the Sugar Bowl and those college football crowds. As we mentioned, it was postponed from yesterday to today. The game will go on at 4 p.m. Eastern. The governor says that it's safe to have the game today and says he's going to show it by going there tonight.
Hey, thanks for watching. Don't miss the Today Show every weekday at 11 a.m.
Adios. Let's see what else we got. What's the next clip? Got another one lined up. Let's check this bad boy out.
And witness Dan McPhee was on Bourbon Street when the attack happened, says he witnessed it. I want to bring Dan on to talk a little bit more about that. And Dan, first of all, I'm so sorry to you that you had to see this and that this is how you're starting off your new year. Can you tell us a little bit about what happened and what you saw?
Yeah, we were wrapping up the night and we were leaving my hotel room because we needed to get an Uber for some of the people we were with that night or early this morning. So we walked out to Canal Street. And we were waiting there for the Uber, and there was a white F-150 at a stoplight, and while we were waiting, I heard tires screeching, and that drew my attention to the white pickup, and it made a right-hand turn onto Bourbon, and it was heading directly towards me and the female friend I had with me. And basically wrapped my arms around her and threw ourselves to the right in the vehicle. I don't remember exactly if it hit me or if some debris, but we were flown into the air and came down on the sidewalk. And then the vehicle did hit a gentleman that I was standing beside. And while we were down on the ground, it appeared that he was breathing, and then the woman behind him didn't appear to be breathing, and the vehicle continued down the road. The police immediately started to push us back away from the people so that they could attend to him. It seemed like a short time passed, and then we heard the gunshots rung out, and we were sat on the sidewalk basically while we waited for medical attention.
Dan, police are saying the vehicle got around police barricades. Were you able to see how?
My My recollection is that they do have barriers. I believe they can raise and lower. I don't believe they were up. I didn't see any that were up. I was kind of surprised that the vehicle was able to get as far as it did. Just considering the amount of people that were on Bourbon Street, they did have those metal gates that they were able to move it back and forth. I don't know if they were down just for the Uber drivers and Lyft drivers to get through, but I don't remember seeing them up.
And Dan, were you able to see any law enforcement response after the vehicle passed you?
Yes, there was a lot of, I believe they're state troopers here. They're in green uniforms rushing down the street. The police did push us back. They pushed us back as far as the Hyatt Hotel. So there was a large police presence there. And all through the night, there was a large police presence.
Dan, how are you now? And the friend you were with?
I believe we're all right. Fortunately, we had some, bumps and bruises and scrapes, but other than that, no serious injuries. I haven't been in contact with the people we were with that night. We met that New Year's. We were having a good time, and I believe everybody was discharged from the hospital early this morning with a clear bill of health.
And Dan, having witnessed this attack and knowing now, obviously, the massive investigation underway, what questions do you want answered?
To be honest, I guess it's a long-reaching question. Is why do people have to do this? It's not doing any good. It's not helping any cause. It's frustrating, to see, copycats out there, and they look at, other fanatics, and they just want to, cause destruction, and they don't understand that, that minuscule impact they have on society that has a huge impact on individuals and families, and it's just nonsense.
And Dan, were you able to see the driver at all throughout this attack? You say the car was heading straight for you. Did he say anything? Did he do anything? Any facial expression you noticed?
No, all I could remember is, and it's just replaying in my head, is just seeing the front end of the car coming at us. So, or truck. That's really all. I didn't have time to look in through the windows at all. It was just a focus on the vehicle and getting out of the way.
Well, I'm glad you reacted the way that you did. It sounds like that quick reaction saved your life. Dan McPhee, we appreciate your time today. I'm sure this is difficult to talk about. We appreciate you sharing your story with us.
Yeah, thank you.
Wow. Let's see what else we got. One more for the one more.
Hi, I'm Diane Macedo. We're coming on the air with breaking news in New Orleans. Local police are calling it an act of terror after a man drove a pickup truck through a crowd on Bourbon Street, killing 10 people and injuring dozens. They say the driver then came out of the truck and opened fire on officers, injuring 2 before being shot and killed. The FBI says improvised devices were also discovered in and around the scene of the attack, and those devices are now being tested. The White House also says President Biden has been briefed on the attack and has been in touch with the mayor of New Orleans. I want to bring in our senior investigative correspondent, Aaron Katursky. Aaron, what's the latest of the timeline of how this all unfolded?
This was at about 3:15 a.m. local time. There was still a crowd on Bourbon Street, a mix of tourists and local residents, when the white pickup truck turned from Canal Street onto Bourbon Street, was able to get around barriers meant to prevent a vehicle ramming attack, accelerated and very, very fast, plowed into this crowd of pedestrians, killing at least 10, injuring roughly 3 dozen. Initially, police responded to the first call for an active shooter because there were gunshots. When the suspect exited the vehicle, he shot at responding New Orleans police officers. 2 officers were struck by gunfire, taken to the hospital in stable condition. In addition, improvised devices were found at the scene. The authorities have since tested them and determined that least one of them appeared to be a viable device. So it adds a degree of complexity to this evolving situation. Right now, police are scanning the French Quarter using drones, cameras, and other technology to see if there are any additional possible devices. The ones they have found are currently being destroyed.
And I want to bring in our Chief Justice correspondent, Pierre Thomas, because, Pierre, the big question when you think about a day like New Year's Eve, when you know Bourbon Street is going to be heaving full of people, is how does something like this happen? How does a truck even get close enough for this attack to unfold?
Well, the police superintendent said that the suspect was able to get around the barriers. Now, that is a flaw, obviously, that you cannot have in a situation like this. And, Diane, to emphasize what's going on here, the FBI has taken the lead in this case. They have now investigating this as an act of terrorism. That's official statement from the FBI. They are very concerned about the circumstances around this, the fact that the suspect had a weapon, the fact that they found at least one viable explosive device, that this was clearly an intentional act. I'm being told by multiple sources that they're looking at the possibility that the suspect may have come into the country recently. Again, very fluid situation. They're also looking at the potential for any kind of ties to ISIS. Again, it's very early in the investigation. Nothing has been finalized, but this is being treated as the highest priority right now. The Attorney General has been briefed. The President of the United States has been briefed about this. The FBI director directly involved in this case as well. Again, so many people injured, at least 10 dead and 20 plus people injured. Again, law enforcement officials have been on a high alert really since October of 2023 after the attack, horrific attack in Israel. And the FBI director and his counterparts have been warning month after month that we are in a heightened environment where virtually every sector of terrorism was on fire, the potential for acts of violence. So this now codifies what we've seen from earlier this summer with two attacks on former President Trump, then candidate Trump. Now we have a situation where the FBI is looking at this as a potential act of terrorism. Resources are being flooded into that area. They are now trying to do a search, a background check on the gun. Where was the gun purchased? Any information they can find out about the vehicle. They're searching surveillance cameras to see if they can get a timeline in terms of how the vehicle moved through that particular area and through that particular crowd. But again, cold-blooded act of murder, law enforcement treating this with the highest priority.
Yeah, that's crazy. He knew what he was doing. He knew. So, with that said, another show in the books. Everybody stay safe. Be careful while you're out there, because trouble could be lurking around every corner. Get right with the Lord. If you don't know Jesus, now's a good time. With that said, I think I just heard a gunshot outside. With that said, good night, and Lord willing, we'll be back here tomorrow.
So goodbye for us. You have to say it, baby. And us in Texas, you wanna try, baby. I know you can, I know your heart, and you will figure